you know your agenda? Your agenda is approve your minutes, but you don't have a quorum, so you can't do that right now.
So when Paul comes, we'll have a quorum. So it's minutes,
HRIC budget approvals, bridge and pier status. Are you coming to Board of Selectmen for two things or one next week?
just the H1, the overlay.
Right, okay. And then you've got your next item on the agenda is bridge and pier status.
Okay,
Then it's HRADA application and then other business and adjourn.
okay. Okay. I didn't think I had that much on it anyway, so that's perfect. It's the same stuff every time.
Some of them can be dealt with quickly.
Yes. I mean, the budget, I don't think we have much to talk about. We did talk to AIE today about the bridge and pier stuff.
Yes, are you sort of jumping in?
Yeah, and so we met with the fishery people. You know, I put all this stuff together to bring to this meeting and I would be happy with it. We met with them about the bridge and pier and with our buddy Michael Barnes.
With
And
whom?
Michael Barnes from the
Yes,
Harbor Management
Yes,
Commission.
yes, good.
And when we met with them on site, Mike was pretty adamant that the harbor management really wanted to be able to have boats docked down there at the same time. So, and have a floating dock that you can fish from.
But is there enough space?
There's plenty of space. They first said, we don't ever allow that. And then by the end of the conversation, they said, well, we'll look at what you can, if you want to give us a drawing, we'll look at it. So
I don't understand. Do you have any of the figures on the usage? You know, just from, I mean, you know, we all drive down that part of town.
you look over that
You
way,
know,
yeah.
and I never have seen, you know, at the most 6 people in there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we have DEEP. I mean, I can't imagine that the fish.
You mean the ferry road thing?
Yeah, that the fish that come up this way are any different than the ones you can get right off of all
Okay.
of that infrastructure.
Most of the people that are at the abutment are crabbing. Partly because when you fish, the lines get snagged on the wires above you. The fishery guys are adamant that they want to see that. It's actually in our original contract when we got the wooded lot on the west side of the abutment. And it said boating access and fishing has to be
Included.
available.
So that was what DEP said.
It's what the fishery guy said. Now, the property that we want from Deep is actually just about done, right? Did you see her question to you saying, have you?
Yes, I did. And I sent it to Mike Carey and said, I'm going to sign this, okay?
Good.
And he still has not gotten back to me today. Because I don't think Mike understood where it was and why we were getting it.
Yeah.
So he was taking it perhaps to the next level that didn't.
It's trying to get more
take into-
efficient with it, and it's better to have it simple, not complicated.
Yeah.
And how about with the new bridge going in? I mean, does that work require more than what you're having, you know, we're having to do to put this little tiny footbridge across?
Wait, the
You mean as
bridge,
far as the Connecticut?
The train bridge.
Oh, yeah, they had to go through years of.
and they're gonna close the fishing pier at Ferry Road for 7 years. They're actually selling off all of the
Really?
pier materials to other people to reuse.
Is it?
They're gonna rebuild it, but it's
they're
gonna be
taking it
gone
all
for 7
down.
years.
I don't think they're taking it all down.
Well, when we talked to the fishing guys, they said,
For 7 years, there'll be no fishing there.
no.
Right.
So that's all the more reason to have something.
No
on
walking either.
That's right.
It's closed. It's just shutting down that whole park.
Well, I mean, they've got the whole third of the, 2/3 of the park is already ripped up to put in a new parking lot for the trucks that will be coming to work.
And then they're going to make it nice for me. I have it under promise.
Written.
That they're gonna work at night?
No, that they're gonna make it nice,
Yes.
make it nice afterwards.
Well,
They're going to restore it into a beautiful park.
They've moved the gazebo
Of
already.
course, I will probably not be around, but I will haunt the two people that told me, Jane and Margaret. Jane Brophy, Margaret.
They will make it nice. Nice.
make it nice.
And they're also
Separated
supposed to
in different
repave Ferry
ways.
Road.
Yeah, maybe
because of all
Musk
the
can
trucks
design
going
it
up and down.
for us.
Needless to say, the woman who's trying to sell her house right
So anyway,
now. Oh,
the
sorry.
fishing pier is gonna go away on Ferry Road. It's according to the fishing guys, they have people waiting in line to get some of that Ipe boardwalk that's coming out of there. So, and they're putting the bridge south of where the current bridge is, not north. They're putting it closer into the Lieutenant River. It's
That's
just crazy, but that's what's happening with
the
that.
thing there is that's one of the few places that people who have limited mobility, especially wheelchair bound people, can get out and onto the water.
Right.
You know,
Well-
because you can't push a wheelchair in the sand.
It never even used to be there, so I guess,
We have two beautiful
We have
walkways.
the mats that are there.
Yeah.
But that's still a lot different than a hard surface.
so just so you know,
All of California is those blue mats for
we,
their beach access.
so we designed something, Paul and I did this, the math to figure out the slope you have to have for ADA between getting down to the level of ground here from here.
Right.
Where am I
So-
from here to
so
here?
Your wheelchair's
then
not running.
The tide is a 4-foot difference, which means for
Huh.
every foot, you're doing 12.
12 feet.
So
every
so
foot?
48 feet is how much a ramp is.
So it's going to go all the way back.
No, it's,
Huh.
so it's gonna come off the grade. So say the end of the boardwalk stops there. It's gonna come off the grade across the marsh and then turn and then go like this onto a big floating dock. So the floating dock is less invasive in the river and doesn't require to have
Oh.
as much,
Infrastructure or,
yeah.
and
And also what I liked about this idea was that it would possibly allow it so you could have a step that goes down to this lot from here. So the only way to get in here when it's a lot of water is to come way the heck down here to get in this. So this might actually bridge over the marsh. And we have, we have a lot of fishermen who walk through there and have put down sticks and all kinds of stuff to get through there themselves. But anyway, it could be a better solution because it would be fishing, boating and pedestrian access to that part of the wooded lot.
Okay.
So it's not a bad idea. I think,
So AI came up with that?
no, we did. Paul and I did. And I tell you, Paul and I drew this about 20 times. It's like, oh no, it's gotta have a different ramp. It's like, so,
So Paul's been a great asset.
yes,
to
he's
this
been very
committee.
helpful. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's gonna call the deep regulatory people as opposed to the fishery people to make sure we're even possibly can do this because the
Okay.
fishery guys don't talk to the regulatory
Of
guys.
course not.
So, they may say, oh yeah, that's fine. And then we find out we have AI design it and we find out we can't do it.
No,
So,
and that makes perfect sense. I mean, I've worked with other state agencies and the different units do not
nobody
talk
talks to each other. Yeah.
to each other.
Bizarre.
So that's very good.
So that's where we are. We're gonna get Deep to find out if Deep will accept what we're trying to do and then get the fishing guys to,
And that we need it in writing.
oh yeah. And then we have to get AI to tell us whether it can be done for the same price as what we were asking
Original.
for originally, which was a set amount of money that we've already gotten approved from our Board of Selectmen and
So-
Board of
So
Finance.
We're all approved from the Board of
Except
Selectmen.
we'd
and
have to go
Finance.
to a town meeting, but we don't want to do a town meeting till we know for sure what the pier will cost. So that happened today. We talked with AI. We talked with AI and their consultant design
Mhm. Mhm,
shore design.
mhm.
And he was the one that said, we need to make sure the regulatory people at Deep would even allow this.
Okay.
So, and he already was saying, there might be a simpler way to get yourself out there, but given that we don't know how to design piers and bridges and stuff,
Right,
it was more of a concept for us.
right.
And to satisfy the need to get across the marshy stuff for just regular people who want to walk around in here was kind of like a happy
Now, a
accident.
floating dock will be going up and down.
Yep.
So
You have
for,
the rails on it?
to be,
Everything has ramps.
to
Yep.
be
On the
ADA,
dock, I mean, there will be rails so
Yes.
that when
Yep.
people won't be falling over into the water.
Right.
to be ADA compliant,
hmm
it
You have to
takes
have
into
a
account.
48-foot gangway, basically. You've seen these aluminum gangways, they're 4 feet wide and they got rails on either side. And they, at dead low tide, it's at perfect ADA acceptance. At high tide, it's more like that. So that's the way it works, but you got to make sure it doesn't start too far inland, or because when the ramp goes down, it goes like this,
Right,
so
right.
that's why we gave up. And Mike Barnes kept saying, just send it to AI and see what they have to say and how to make it work. So, but I
Of
think
course, I mean, does anybody know about the March of the Phragmites? I mean, how much water?
well, I
much of
think
a-
you could actually cut those Phragmites down too. You could mow it down.
That's
You
another,
can get
well,
permission from Deep to do that because it's invasive.
Yeah.
And then once you cut it, then you can also ask to, like they did on,
Treat it.
Eckland Pond. That's what they did.
we treat ours,
Yeah.
but what you get then is the cattails. Because that's what the natural,
And you want them
well, but it's still,
filled in.
it's still a problem if you're building something over it.
Oh, well, the fact that it'll be shaded will suppress some of that. So I think that will not be a problem.
Yeah,
And
there's
if they are,
boardwalks all over the place
they'll-
along the river here.
they'll be weaker as well, so
Oh.
they'll be easier to
Get
cut.
cut down.
Yeah.
Now we had DACO looking at something for the land trust because we own a lot of marshes around here, the land trust does. And we had DACO looking at, something like a 400-foot boardwalk across marshland to get to a dock. And it's allowed. You just have to get permission from everybody, but so that's where we are with the bridge and pier. We're going to find out from Deep, then we're going to get to AI and make sure that their price is the right price and stays within the budget we need it to be in. So that's kind of happening. I know Paul is going to try and get a hold of this woman, Maeve Rourke. So he's going to try that. Then the next thing, one thing we didn't do yet is approve the minutes, but we don't have a quorum yet, so we can wait for Paul to come.
Yeah, and Paul also knows about this, so.
The other thing on the list, and Paul already knows that, yes. So the other thing on the list is this overlay district application. So I brought it to Martha and she's looked it over, and there's a few things that are afoot. One is what you guys all saw when I sent out, please sign this so we can get updated signatures of support. It's not required for the Board of Selectmen to choose to submit this application, but we thought, given we've got Judy Reed there, she probably would balk if we showed anything that was 2 or 3 years old. So we're gonna include some new signatures, which I managed to get 35 in 2 days. And I went all up and down Halls Road yesterday and today. I got something from Webster Bank. I talked to Andy, and I realized I talked to him yesterday. I went back today and I said, I understand your position. I'm not going to bug you about this because he's got customers and he doesn't want to take a stand about something that might be jeopardizing his
Business.
clients, so he was very nice about it. And he said, it looks like it could be really nice. I probably would help my business, but I just, I can't I can't sign anything, which totally understand.
Okay.
And talked to the Marna Rune lady. We had lots of conversations and she didn't sign anything yet. Also talked to the hair salon that's in there and she signed something for us. And then today I went on the other side of Halls Road and went to the hardware store. She very happily signed something and was very in favor of it. The gym place, the guy owner wasn't there. The owner wasn't at the office place. I talked to the liquor store. They're not locally owned, so they don't really
Oh,
have
I should think they would
interest in anything.
jump on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, their business.
they
is
can't
good.
make a decision is the problem. Even talking to
Yes.
a manager. you know.
Yes, yes, of course.
But I'll go back tomorrow and see if I can talk to the brother, apparently.
Did you say
Like I said.
Saybrook Hardware did? I mean, this hardware store did?
What?
Hardware store?
Yes, yes,
Did they sign it?
Did the,
the hardware store.
yes, she signed, definitely. Jessica Tarico. She's very nice.
Has that property been sold?
We don't know. I have a feeling they're just sitting on it. Or they expired, the offer expired and they're not doing it. We don't really know anything about that or the Hideaway side, you know. There's been nothing public given out and I've asked, but I don't have any answers.
Okay.
So, that's waiting. When I go to, so this is the thing that we're gonna be bringing to the, oh, there's my town dock picture. Here we go. It was in here somewhere.
So Edie, everything that you sent the other day to Sweeney, is that what you want me to send? Do you want me to send that on to Jim and Jude for?
I want to get the rest of the things that have been signed.
Okay,
And
you'll
I'm
scan
not gonna
it?
send the actual piece that's signed. I'm gonna send you the list.
yeah, right.
And I have a really good letter from Dave Kelsey from 23.
Yeah, you
June.
told me that.
So I'm
that-
gonna use that and I think I've got something from Claudia Weicker, but I can't remember whether it's specific about Halls Road overlay.
She's no longer a resident of our town.
No, but she's Roger Tory.
Oh, she's Roger Tory, that's
But
right.
she may not be able to speak for Roger Tory. Roger Tory's, I went there too. And I think the thing to do with them and the Flow Grizz is to try and get a meeting before December 6th with their board and go present to them because the board are the people who make the decisions on these things.
What about the Lime Art Association?
Yeah, them too. Yep. And Lime Art Academy. I think if we could get meetings with them, we might be able to get people to sign off on something. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, so, yeah, contact them soon because if you want to get on the agenda.
I know it. Yeah. I've been scrambling around like crazy. So one of the things that that's also has to happen, and I could use some help from our committee, is when you submit this thing, I thought it was in here, but maybe it's not. When you submit it, you have to address all the abutters. You have to tell the abutters and also the property owners, because this is a district overlay as opposed to one property. You have to notify them that the public meeting is coming up and you have to do it with it's not a certified mail, but it's a certificate of mailing. And that just requires printing out something and stuffing envelopes and sending it out. It's not something the town will do for us.
Okay, so let us know.
Yeah, I'd be happy to stuff.
That'd be
them.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys know how to do the formatting for Avery labels? Because one of the new things you can do on the GIS site is you can download the list of abutters and property owners right to labels, like Avery labels.
I used to know how to do that, but I haven't, since I've stopped teaching, I don't even go on my computer.
And I've never known how to do that.
Okay, well, worth a question.
Is somebody
it's really easy. I mean, you have to just get the code for the size of the Avery label
I'm sure
and,
we can help you.
you know, there's
within the office.
I should
Uh,
think.
To go to.
it's very easy.
That would be great.
You're a committee from Board of Selectmen's office, so I'm sure we can help you get that done.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, last time when we did this, Kim Barrows and Kim, they could not figure out how to do the Avery label, and they ended up handwriting everything, and they helped me because it was so late, but we had to do it 3 times because they kept changing the date of the meeting, so it can be time consuming, and then,
so you're not doing that until you know your meeting date.
yes,
Which
yeah.
you should be given once it's accepted.
Yeah.
But it could get still moved, so
So do you know where Jim is on this? Is he ready to sign off on this?
I have not talked to him about this. When I send it to him, we'll get some feedback.
Okay. All right.
I'm
So
waiting to send that. Hopefully you'll have that to me tomorrow afternoon.
It's coming.
I'm just saying,
No, I know, that's tomorrow morning's project, so,
well, I'm trying to get 13 things done by for tomorrow too, so.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's.
I mean, I can send it to you and copy it to the other 2 if you would like me to help you on
Sure,
that.
you can do it that way.
All right.
If you want to just send it
So
out.
just look at this. This is the contents page. And there's an introduction, there's the actual documents, you know, the design guidelines and the actual HROD. And then there's all these supporting things. So, you know, the abutters list and the map and letters of recommendation. There's also some versions of links, which I gotta check to see if the links still work. And then the last thing on my list is that I wanna have a presentation for the Board of Selectmen. So this is sort of as close as I've gotten, and I think it's pretty together. So my brothers helped me on this. Take this away. So it starts out with, this is what we have today
Mhm,
with strip centers.
mhm.
This is what we would have as a shopping street. It's not all shown every single possible parcel being built out, which I wanted to do that on purpose. It shows what we have today. And this is what we're aiming for. And then we're talking about how from here. So there's basically 3 things to this. There's the overlay zone, which affects the entire district. Within the overlay are the complete streets, which is all the sidewalks, lighting, landscaping, everything that we need to make this work. And then the third thing is the open space, which is represented by the bridge connecting across here and bringing people into this open space.
I'm gonna run to my office just to make quick, return a phone call really quick.
Thank you. So, and then this is just saying, you know, in the 1960s, it was all about a drivable strip center and all car oriented. It was all about parking lots. Everything was 60 feet or more away from the road. And people would look down and go, oh, there's lots of parking. I want to go there. That's not the scene anymore. And it's more like what we have on Lime Street.
Was it ever filled? I know driving by today. It
I
was
don't
more
think
filled
the
than I
liquor
remember
store
ever
side gets that filled. In those, I guess at Christmas, the Big Y side gets pretty filled.
Big Y will
Yeah.
will do it.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's gonna bring in a lot of people.
Well, the liquor store too,
Well, the liquor
and the
store,
post office.
but
Yeah,
their
but not
turnaround is
complete
pretty,
full.
is pretty quick.
Yeah.
There, there's always parking.
And also there's the C30S has a much stronger requirement for minimum parking. Whereas we say there's a maximum amount of parking you need as opposed to a minimum. So what this is doing is this is showing just some options of what it could look like. And the hope was to make this look prettier than what we have in our other pictures. But you know, the idea is that you can drive in and possibly connect through here and drive out again and
Right.
drive in through here. I'm also updating a drawing I have so that you could drive all the way. Let me just show
So
you.
this is the road that.
So there's the big Y. Actually, let me go back to this earlier picture. So the idea for Big Y is to actually connect, straighten this road out so it becomes a connection that goes over to the down here is where that uh, commuter parking lot is,
Yeah,
down here.
yeah.
And there's a light there. So if you
Right.
went out and could park there, I mean, go out that way to that light, that would get you right onto the highway. But we don't want it so fast a road that you can't, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so would need, so basically we've got accesses going like this and like this. But these are private roads, so it would be up to the developer to be willing to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it would probably help the businesses if they did do that. I'm also showing more residential stuff back here than I ever used to. Cause Jeff and EDC was saying, you know, you should make sure that you show that this can be redeveloped into something else. Another idea here is that, you know, the way on Halls Road, there's a slope here.
Mhm.
So we've always had this idea that you could make one full foundation under here and have it a parking lot. So people that lived in here could get upstairs with
To park underneath the
park under the
buildings.
building so that you could come in and go out. Like
But that
this.
would be up to a developer.
Yeah.
Completely.
Just a suggestion. So these are the stuff I want to show. I'm working on something that my brother's given me a template to figure out, but this is how much public investment gets done
Oh, that's a,
and private development. So Complete Streets, he rounded things off to 5 million, and this is really not even 100,000 to do the overlay zoning, but you know, he just threw that in. And open space is around 2 million to do the bridge. But private development, this is the thing I'm trying to figure out the math on, is for a developer to build anything here, they may spend this much money on the development. And we'll have a stronger number when I get this.
Does
produced.
he have a sense of what the private development
Well,
or Dave Kelsey?
what he gave me, what my brother gave me was, here's a formula. If you have X amount of square footage for a footprint, then you multiply it times 3 and you get X. So, and also I wanted to make sure we could include in that what the tax revenue increase would be for the town. So we get more money for the town as well when you multiply
I
something.
mean,
by
it's a
50.
no-brainer that.
It is.
the
It's
town
obvious
is
to
gonna
me,
get
but
more tax money from,
Yeah.
you know, more development.
Yeah.
Whether it's residential or commercial,
Yeah.
either one
Yeah.
is gonna bring in more revenue for the town.
I mean, and I don't think we've ever expected to keep retail here and here. The idea is to move people up to the street for retail because we're requiring anyone who uses the overlay to put retail at the street. So they may keep some retail here till they decide or find more money to do another development, but.
Well, it depends because right now they can stay exactly the way they
That's right.
are.
That's right.
I mean, that's what optional means.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And also they can stay there till this stuff is built. Because if you use the overlay, you have to build on the road first before you can build anything
behind
behind.
it.
Yeah. So that just means you only have to move once straight into your new building.
will that, I mean, that marketing thing we saw last time or the time before,
Mhm.
I mean, that was for developers
Yes,
and we didn't have anything to do with
that's right.
it. I mean, it was obviously a selling point for them.
Yeah,
To have that.
for sure. And so that would be, you know, I want to finish this up. I don't know if I'm hoping I'll get it done by Monday so I can show it to them. And if you guys want to come to that meeting for the Board of Selectmen, that
So
would,
when is the meeting?
I think it's at 5:30 on Monday evening.
Monday evening?
Mhm.
kick myself. I purposely decided, no, I won't print out my own copy.
And it's mine is sitting on my computer.
I personally don't think that they're, to bring this to a town vote at some point for the funding. I don't think there's been enough information out there. You know,
For people to
most of the
know
people
about.
in my street don't know about it at all. I mean,
Know
unless I
what?
talk to them, that there is this whole proposal to redo,
Mhm.
Halls Road.
Even though we already did it for 7 months last year.
I,
2 years
but
ago.
No, but people's memories are like,
Yeah,
also, if they're not, I think they need to have more, highlighting of how this will change their experience of living in
Yeah,
this town.
yeah.
Because,
Well,
they may be just
Yeah.
happy the way things are.
well, this document, once I get it completed, would also be something we'd post online.
But that's, I
Um,
think, that's another,
Like this right here, the sort of recap is the benefits to the town is keep our community commercial district alive and thriving, which is very important for us. Provides options for apartments and townhouses in our town center, which is another thing that we don't have anything of. Businesses focused on needs of town over through travelers' needs as opposed to, the highway. And follows Old Lyme's character as found on Lime Street, creates a safe, walkable, bikeable, mixed-use town center. So, we have our little list of things, and I agree, people forget or they don't remember what it's about.
is it worthwhile doing a presentation in the high school? So that the kids who are on the verge of leaving, that they will come home with some information to share with their parents who may not be tuned into this.
I have no idea how to do that.
I can call the principal.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm not sure they're the best audience.
Well, they're one of the audiences that we're trying to
Yeah.
address, in my mind, to make it safer, because you have all these kids
Yeah.
running after
Yeah.
school down Halls Road, and
But-
not a safe sidewalk.
Yeah, but it's their parents that worry about them, not them.
Well,
You know.
they have their whole lives ahead
Yeah.
of them.
I mean, it's funny because I was talking to a couple people about the whole issue that came up at our last meeting about, how do you get people aware of what's going on? And, you can do so much. You can post things on websites and you can reach out with, things to people of Old Lyme and stuff like that. But ultimately, the boards and commissions that have elected positions to them are the people that have been entrusted to make decisions for the town. And you kind of have to remember that, because it's very difficult to, I've gone to the beginning of this project. We had 2 town-wide meetings to introduce the Halls Road improvements concept with the Yale group. They were disasters. All we had, the only people that came were people that were against it. And they got up and just started spouting off all sorts of information that didn't really ring true. And it was difficult to work that way, and I think we do have to try our best to have the information available. I mean, I had someone, when I sent out this request for signing a letter, can I read what the ordinance is? And I asked the lawyer yesterday, can I post that on the town site? And he said, no, don't post it until the Board of Selectmen have decided to send in the application. So I have to kind of wait for that, which, may be as soon as Monday, but, but it's tricky.
The application goes to whom?
It's the town goes to the it goes to the zoning commission. The town asks the
Submits it
zoning
to the
commission
zoning
to
commission
take
to-
their application. They take it and then they have to show it to planning. And when they show it to planning, we're going to be there presenting. And, if everything goes according to that schedule, that would be in January.
Okay, Okay, so, and I agree. That's why you have representatives to do this. It would be nice to have an article, a friendly source,
Mhm.
to reach those people who read local papers,
Mhm.
or media. And maybe that could be part of our sort of, assuming that it goes through the Board of Selectmen.
Mhm.
It's, isn't as if they don't know about it, and we haven't been working pretty closely with them, because we actually are an arm of the,
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think let's go forward with that sort of
Okay.
aspect of it.
So I had, this is what I was going to present, but I'd really love it if you guys could look this over. I've got 2 copies and I can get another copy put together pretty quickly, but
I could, well, you have to get this to Martha tomorrow.
yeah. And I have until 12:30 to get all this shit done, but I'll get it done.
I think I mentioned this before, but I think at, the town meeting, I think it's good to have the diorama that you have.
You mean the stuff we had up here?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, people, this is flat. I think people do a better,
I mean, it's not a 3-dimensional diorama. It's a drawing just like these are.
I thought you had something with, the like little buildings on it.
No.
Never?
Mm-mm.
God, that must be my dreams.
Probably a dream.
Okay, just bring her like.
We kind of purposely tried to make this drawing less sexy, so to speak, than this one, because it is, there's not as many, there's practically no trees on Halls Road, and there's no lights, and there's, it's kind of blah. I mean, it's like a lot about parking spaces, so.
Well, and that's another, I mean, from my perspective, one of the more important things is, we live in a community that is heavily older adults.
Mhm.
And one of the things that will keep us healthy is if we walk.
Yes, definitely.
And so to encourage, I mean, we may only have 2 seasons that walking would be interesting to go to the retail center,
Yeah,
but, we've got to make it possible for people to walk and attractive to walk.
Yeah.
Should this be open space? You have complete streets twice.
oh, yes, it should be. Thank you.
When I go home.
Okay, and that door's locked.
I lock that door. I'm going out the back. I'll make sure.
And do
that-
I need to set the alarm?
Yep,
Okay,
you should stand there, set the alarm. You should be good to go.
okay,
Okay?
all right.
Set the alarm off. All of you stay here until the cops get here.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So on a random, I always think about the paintings that are in the upstairs.
So beautiful.
Like, are they insured? Could somebody come in here and take them out of the building?
I mean, I'm sure the building is insured, so there must be something about it, but
But looks like it would be pretty easy for somebody, and I just finished reading this book for our book group, The Art Thief, for somebody to
oh,
figure
they are,
out.
yeah,
I could get those and put them on the market somewhere,
yeah.
but,
Well, I think because there is an alarm here, it's pretty safe.
but I also say, I do think that the youngsters, especially the juniors and the seniors, ought to have some presentation, so that they carry the message home to their parents,
Yeah,
who may not, the parents may not be.
there's some kind of work unit or something we could do on that.
Well, I also thought, I mean, I was at the meeting last night with Tom for the Democratic Committee, and I think that the students somewhere in that high school experience, they should have a requirement to come get so many signatures from town hall, so that they know something about
is
how the
what to do.
town
Yeah,
government works,
yeah,
especially if they're going to be staying in this town for their lifetime.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, the only sort of challenge I it's people's understanding of complete streets.
That needs to be spelled out better.
And you just have to make it as simple.
It's a new vocabulary word for them.
It's a new vocabulary, and so it needs to just be
I agree.
simple. So they have it in their head as soon as they go.
Yeah. I mean, I know in here, my brother helped me a lot with this thing, and he got rid of calling it H-Rod. Because he said, nobody gets what H-Rod means. So just call it an overlay zone and be done with it, because overlay at least makes some kind of sense. It's like something overlaying other zoning, so. But I think, I wonder, should we just say sidewalks? And then say it will be the complete streets package that's sidewalks, lighting, landscaping.
I mean, it
Crosswalks.
creates new sidewalks, lighting, bike paths.
We can list it out.
Does it also have the crosswalks?
Crosswalks, needs to be crosswalks and bus stops.
How many bus stops do we have now?
We really only have one, which is right up, it will be right here near the hideaway. The post office.
And what will it take to get
The bus-
additional bus stops?
The bus stop is,
I mean, for 0.7
Oh.
miles, do you need more than one?
no.
Don't make a big deal.
I mean, they stop right now at the Big Y.
Yeah,
The only reason bus stops were included was because it's part of the complete streets package.
yes. But the audience isn't
Doesn't care
the
about that.
funder, and that the state, it's,
So don't include it. Is that what you're
I
saying?
wouldn't put bus stops in. If somebody brings it up and says, oh, can we get bus stops? Oh, sure, we can get bus stops.
So when we talk to DOT, we'll include it.
I think there should be more patrolling the speed limit. I mean.
Well, another thing people said to me today was, oh, there's gonna be a lot of traffic if you've got residential in there. And it's like, well, most people leave for the day and come back after work.
Yeah, some of them, I mean.
And some of them don't move at
They're
all.
not going to have to leave. I mean, if that becomes if for an older adult, they can go to the post office, they can go to the grocery store. They don't have to get into a car.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a real selling point. I mean, because at some point, there's some of us that really don't belong behind the wheel.
Yeah. That's coming right up.
That's coming up. No, I'm really serious about that. I mean,
I've seen you drive.
Yeah, my husband, every time I park, he's complaining about me.
Is your intention to distribute this in printed?
It was really to project it.
Oh,
And it's a lot more vibrant when it's projected. My printer is running out of black ink, so I didn't bother to change that, but
and the other, I mean, if they have access to it online, that's even, I mean, they.
they'll see it in
you
a
know,
PDF.
Before the meeting or after the meeting, they can go back and review the material without having to go through.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's-
one of the things when Martha was here at our last meeting, she said, make sure you have information about what the objections were to the overlay. And, there's two things afoot in that. One is there were suggestions made, maybe two in all from zoning, and the rest were on our side. There were suggestions to make changes to the actual document. But the objections that went against the supermajority getting passed were the ones about the DOT question, has DOT approved this? And you can't do anything without septic and water. So we've addressed those two things. Those are the two main things that I think about. But I have a list of the overlay revisions. And And then I had, oh, I really was sloppy this afternoon. So we have the overlay revisions, and then I have some information about the concerns and also the support that we got from zoning that talks about, the totally optional overlay doesn't create non-conformity issues if not used. Mixed use introduces competition for better use of property to development than commercial only. And it creates a town plan for the future rather than random commercial only sprawl. And design review board helps maintain the character of Old Lyme and allows multifamily residential options, addresses much needed alternates to single family homes. So that's sort of in that document already once. And then I have a little thing about the concerns, which was the soil review and the DOT, which, both of those things have come up with answers that I feel are sufficient to prove us. I'm not sure if that timeline is of any use to anybody.
Dave will like.
Dave would like it, yeah.
There's something I see on page 7 of this.
That's the actual document.
You're gonna drive increased taxes. That sounds like a bad thing.
Yes,
Okay. Fill in the blank for me, will
tax
you?
revenue.
Tax revenue,
Revenue,
Okay,
increase.
increased tax revenues, that's a better,
okay. What are you saying?
on page 7. Item 4, it should be medical dental offices.
What's it say?
It says medical offices.
Oh, okay. And you would know that.
I would, well, we want people to, we are an aging population that have their teeth.
Yes. Wait a minute. Why don't you just add that in there for me? I'm gonna take all this stuff home and get it organized, so.
Yeah.
I was so like challenged to get signatures at the drop of a hat that I really have mainly focused on that.
I really think one of the big selling points would be to have with these apartments.
Yeah.
For people who are wanting to become permanent residents. And for the people who have been permanent residents, but now do not need to live in a 4-bedroom home
Right,
and remain in their town.
yeah,
Um,
that's a huge piece of this. And
that's-
we have something like 60% of the population in town is over 60.
The thing that I just recently found out about those apartments that are over by the train station in Old
Saybrook.
Saybrook, there's no elevators.
Really?
So,
Are you sure?
yeah, they're 3 stories. And even for youngsters, especially young families, can you imagine having to drag the strollers up 3 flights of stairs? And then, oh, I forgot your teddy bear. I've got the kids in the car. Now, how do I go up 3 flights of stairs and
Yeah.
go get what we didn't?
Yeah.
I mean, how
That
did
is-
that happen?
Yeah,
You haven't lived on 4th or 5th floor walk-ups?
yeah, really. I mean. They do it in the city all the time.
Yes.
Yep. They don't even have a car,
Well, I obviously, no, I've only lived, I mean, I've lived in, 2 family houses, but,
Yeah, not a walk up like. that.
not
Yeah.
I've never lived.
Well,
in a study
my
either.
guess is people who have more challenges about being without an elevator would have to be on the first floor.
Yeah, well, but I mean, so the percentage of that should be restricted rentals. If you, I mean, I don't know if you can do that, but.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. People also select for themselves, things that they can do. You're absolutely right about that. The truth of the matter is, when you were looking for housing, how many 1-story houses did you find for housing with living on the first floor?
Well, that's why we took down that
Yeah.
cottage and built our
Yeah.
house.
But most people don't have the
That-
resources. to
Is your
do
house
it.
got a first floor bedroom?
Huh?
Does your house have a first floor bedroom?
Yeah, that was
That's why you bought
one of
it?
the major criteria for what we
yeah.
were looking for.
And that's, I mean, that's the problem with the old stock housing in this, the master bedrooms were up on the second floor with all
Yeah.
the other
And
ones.
those giant bathrooms and the giant walk-in closets, and it's all useless for someone that over 80. Yeah,
Oh, for some of them, it is. But, we didn't, we don't appreciate the fact that at any age, we are only temporarily able-bodied.
yeah,
And you can be reduced to not being able to move about in your home simply because you don't have
so you have some ambulatory problem.
abilities.
Yeah,
And it's the one thing that, because of when we built our house and because of at that point in time, while Tom was waiting for a heart transplant, he was very frail. I mean, for him to get
That's
from
right,
the
yeah.
bedroom to the bathroom, it couldn't be a hike around the house.
right, right.
And he was gonna be on the first floor.
Yeah.
So,
It's what dining rooms became, were bedrooms.
yeah. Yeah, who eats, I don't know. But I think the selling point or support is that, it will enhance their, shopping experience. But also, we're mindful of the fact that in order to stay healthy, this will now be totally walkable
Mhm,
safely.
mhm.
And focusing on the kids in the after-school crowd,
Yep,
that your children aren't running against the traffic lights because they want to get to their friend who's on the other side of the street.
right, right.
And that's my, my interest
Yeah.
in,
I'm just trying to think of if we have any issues with folks being worried about stuff because, answers for the questions. I'm trying to think of other things that we haven't thought about, but, yeah.
well, the other thing, I mean, I would be happy to have a sticker on my car or something on a jacket that said, ask me about Halls Road, so
Ah.
that, people
Yeah.
have a real face that might be able to communicate something more
Yeah.
to them.
Yep. That'd be interesting.
So in this section here,
Mhm.
which is hard to read because it's so small, but
Yeah, it'll be
take
bigger in the,
hours to reformat it.
no, I wouldn't.
When we went, now I'm forgetting the name of the committee we went to, the Economic Development
Yeah.
Committee. And they did their SWOT analysis.
Yep.
And they came up with all of those things.
Mhm.
Seems to me there are more strengths that could be added into this.
That was
And
taken
does it-
from an actual survey that was done. So
Okay.
it's not our strengths,
Okay.
it's
Okay,
townwide.
yes, but I should also think.
But I can dump that if you think it's not.
Is there another copy of that one?
No, I only brought two, I'm sorry. Pathetically bad here.
It's not clear that this is from another survey.
Okay,
And so
we need to clarify that. Okay.
and also year.
Okay.
So I basically circled the things that I sort of hit on.
Great.
At this late date, I wouldn't even want to get
Mhm.
into too much change because you only have a few hours to
Yes.
put this together. So, and almost everybody you're talking to is familiar with this. Whether they agree with it or not,
Mhm.
they know the basic, idea of it, the issues that have come up.
Mhm.
So they'll be swatting it around between themselves.
Okay.
But I think we've hit on things. I mean, I think the findings of the Economic Development Committee were actually pretty compelling because they were very supportive
Yeah.
of of this.
And we did actually get a letter. It's not, don't have an official letter yet, but it came, it was in the minutes of the EDC that I just was reading. So that's in here. So I've asked Cheryl to send me that. Another question that I think is going to come up is the zoning commission has hired a consulting company to revamp the entire zoning book.
Right, for
And
the whole town.
And there's questions about, well, if they're gonna do that and they're gonna do a townwide survey and get all kinds of responses about what's in the zoning, why are we trying to sneak this in ahead of time? And honestly, I don't think we're trying to sneak it in at all, but I went and I have talked with Sweeney, and I also talked to Eric Knapp with Martha the other day and asked him that question. I said, is there any reason not to submit this application now as opposed to after the thing is underway? And he said, well, it's going to take at least 3 years to get this new zoning thing finished up, completed. And he said, it's going to be the information that you guys provide us about the overlay is probably something we'll be able to use in other zoning situations in the future verbiage that this whole exercise comes up with. And in terms of townwide surveys, this has come up in surveys in the past. And the reason that we're not just about putting in safe streets is that people asked for more housing. They've asked for things that we've been answering. That's why the master plan includes that in the parcel. So
I wouldn't delay at all, because you could make that argument, oh, something new is going to come up, that, it gets delayed indefinitely. And you've already been working on this for several years, and you've been going through this process. I mean, if they're going to turn it down, they're going to turn it down, but I think you have done everything to sort of make
To
it
fill
work.
in the blanks. I mean, the other thing is just looking at this document, it's a masterful, readable because of the color coding.
okay.
I don't have to spend a lot of time because I know the blues, they're going to be talking about this, the greens are something else.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's
the
simple.
People don't, well, the youngsters certainly, but people are not oriented to text as much as they used to be.
Right. And they don't want to read anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all.
Yeah, so this is a magnificent
I
piece of
think
work.
you've done a fantastic job.
So do you think it needs the timeline? It's not like a real
Well, the-
timeline as part of the problem, like,
Right, there's,
But you can't, how can you, you can
you know
project
what?
the sequencing, but you really can't project the time.
right.
It's gonna take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say no. Of course, somebody may ask for it,
Yeah.
but the thing is, sometimes when you want to put more information in,
It just
sort of-
gets it confusing.
all it is like a red flag for somebody.
That you're
Yeah.
trying to bury something.
So it ends up that instead of
Hmm.
helping, it can hurt, because it gives you more information to question. And so it's always a delicate balance between those two.
Okay. That's great.
I mean, if somebody asks, yes, we have a timeline, I'd be happy to send it to you.
Yeah, great. That's it.
Yeah.
Mark that one down on your. That's perfect. Because the other thing in an open meeting, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time answering some nitpicky questions, while the basis of the meeting is to get as much information out there as possible.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
And partly you're asking the question, you already are saying, do we really need this?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So, and then this piece, I mean, I think definitely we need to explain that there was an advanced CT study done in town.
Yeah, make it clear
And
it's a
describe
study,
that.
because I didn't have any clue advanced CT was the name of the study.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also when it was done.
And do
and-
you think these SWATs are even needed? I mean, they're tiny and a lot of
You
information.
know, it's actually, the bullet points is probably the most important part of it, you know, rather than
These three,
the verbiage you can't see.
okay. So you're saying this is more important than this? Or are you saying the bullet points within?
Well,
this?
and people like strengths, weaknesses, and you know, that
Yeah.
sort of, but these bullets,
Just these.
as opposed
And
to
don't use that.
this, which you
Right.
can hardly.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't really read
Yeah.
it.
And also it's supposed to be a slide, so you're not necessarily going to sit and read for very long.
And a lot of people have the tendency to read their slides. And especially when there's a lot of words there, they want to summarize it quickly, but they end up being stuck reading it.
Right.
So it's better to do just the bullet points.
Okay. Great.
Great point.
Can you tell I've
Good.
made less presentations?
Okay, sounds good. You got any more stuff for me?
No,
No?
I wish I
You
did.
marked it up for me?
Yeah, with the one or two comments,
Okay.
but they're in black, so they'll be hard to see.
Oh, I'll look carefully. Don't worry. The one thing we didn't do was,
Minutes.
approve the minutes because we were waiting for you. Howard's dog is dying, so he didn't come.
Oh,
What?
no, it's Howard's. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he said the dog was, he didn't say she was dying, but I think from the tone of his note, it was, you know,
Concern.
she's spitting up blood.
Oh, that's very sad.
That is,
It's so awful to lose a dog. It's the worst.
well, any pet, I mean, that's the other, another area, you know, that really offends me is that, when our pets, our cats, we lost all of our cats, we're too old to adopt.
You're kidding.
No, most of the shelters, 65 is the cutoff point. And for God's sakes, you know.
You can
I can say-
get a thoroughbred dog or whatever it's called.
That's right. Why not an older pet that they hard
Well,
to
but,
place?
you know, I can understand concerns about giving an older adult a dog because they do need to be walked unless you have. a
Yes.
piece of property.
Yeah.
But a cat,
Yes.
you know, a cat.
Yeah.
I mean, we ended up having to get one from a bulletin board on us, on the supermarket because,
Fortunately, they're fairly easy to get.
well,
Yeah, cat that'd be hard to believe, but
but, you know, that's another thing, the restrictions that are on, older adult housing for no pets,
well, they're changing that.
you know?
And my friend Allison, who I go see every week, is she had a dog and her daughters decided they couldn't afford to pay for the dog walking and all of that, but they allowed the dogs there. And there's a lot of people with dogs there.
And that's so,
It's so important. I mean, a companion is like,
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
all right, how about the minutes? Can I have a motion to approve? Or did
When
we?
you sent them out a while ago.
Yeah, and I didn't
I
bring.
did read them.
And of course I
so
didn't bring them either.
No,
No,
and
I-
and I didn't bring a copy
I
myself,
didn't either,
but I would move to accept
except the
them.
minutes.
I
I'll
remember
second that.
reading them when you sent them out.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, great. Um,
So you would like us there Monday's board meeting, 5:30.
yeah, so Monday, the Board of Selectmen is meeting that we're gonna be presenting this document to. And they've got a lot on their agenda, so I don't think they're gonna wanna take a lot of time,
Do you know
but
where you are in the,
I
gonna be at?
don't, I haven't seen an agenda yet, but, you know, Martha said, well, we're gonna be here all night, so I'll promise I'll be quick. But, you know, I need to get this stuff so she can send it to them to read over the weekend. And then the other stuff will be, you know, if we do go forward with it and we need to get stuff out to the abutters and the property owners, we'll work on getting help from you guys.
So you'll know Monday nights.
I
whether or
think
not
that, I
they're-
think they're gonna have to make a decision about it, yeah.
So, and then,
Accept or reject or
To,
reject.
to choose to
And revise?
apply,
Oh.
to apply it
To apply.
to the, so the town is sending in the application, not Halls Road, so
Okay.
the town would choose to apply.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's
but
just one
you've
group.
already presented this to the Board of Selectmen, didn't you?
I did for the last one that we did,
Oh,
but I have not,
But we had a run through with this already.
no,
Okay.
no. So we need to
So
make
it's the
sure.
Board of Finance you met with.
Yeah, and that was asking for money for the,
For this.
for the trails and
Which
bridge.
they approved.
So then that takes a town meeting to get approval for all the extra funds. And that, the extra funds are not just for the bridge and pier, it's also for the complete streets.
Right,
So,
right.
So I have one last question. This will not be voted on at the same time the school budget will be voted on. Will it be a separate meeting or will it be?
the town meeting, depends on how soon we get an answer from AI and Deep.
Because what I mean, I don't want to have people deciding that, you know, it's one or the other.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a one or the, I mean, the budget is usually the end of February.
I
I think that's when their mating season is. But, so I'm hoping that we have an answer and are ready to make that decision by then, so. Okay, and did you want some letters to Papa Books?
Yes.
Okay. So should we adjourn the meeting?
Have we hit on everything?
I think so.
Okay. Let me say about the raise grant.
Yes.
Because it is a federal grant, it'll probably be a very complicated grant application. But what will be especially important is approvals by DEEP and, DOT. Documentation about that. I think it's along the same lines that Joe Courtney's office wasn't willing to put
And
forward.
is that,
their application.
okay, so Courtney's office was about just getting construction funds for the bridge, right? It wasn't for complete streets, I don't think, or was it?
I thought we
Because the reason
may have been just the bridge, but it's still, the
Yeah.
same issues will come up.
okay,
You know,
But-
if we had said complete streets and including all that, they would have said, okay, what does DOT say? And if it's going over water, you know, and you're using deep land for part, whatever,
okay.
they still would have been asking for the same things.
Because I think that the Courtney thing was definitely, that's when we found out that AI hadn't done its work to get the permitting going.
Right, right.
But regardless, so are you suggesting that we shouldn't pursue the raise
I'm
or?
not saying, the due date, if I recall correctly, is June 30th. So we have a little time, but you know how things move through bureaucracies.
Yeah.
So if we're still waiting on those things, I think it could endanger,
Mhm.
you know, the competitiveness of our application.
Okay.
It
Are there
doesn't,
any others coming up before that? Is Trails and Rec Trails coming
wasn't
up?
that a February when we did it last?
Yeah, but I think it's this 25. We did it for 23. It's every 2
It'll
years.
be 25, so raise is January 25.
Oh, you had said June, so you mean January.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant,
Okay.
yeah.
It was one of those J months.
There's some of them have open applications so that you can apply at any time. Not this one. This one is January 30th.
And Rec Trails comes right up
I'm
after that.
thinking, yeah, but
And we really want to
and
get
that's
that
a
going.
really simple, I mean, a much simpler application, since it's the state. And we've already gotten money from them. We want to spend that money before we apply.
I think we almost have. I can't remember whether there's still another 29
Well,
left.
I thought we were doing it proportionally, but maybe disproportionately.
We were only doing
because
it in half, two parts, you know.
spend it off. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we need to say what we intended to do with it is complete to that at least as much
Okay.
as it can be. We didn't ask for a huge amount of money.
No, it was 29,000 or something. Right? Or
Right.
No, it was. I can't. Never mind.
And it was like 28. It was a relatively small amount of money in the scheme of things.
All right. Okay,
Meeting adjourned?
yeah, you all approved? Meeting adjourned? Okay.